Near the top of the world is a beautiful, snowbound wilderness. Mountains and icebergs frame a boat trip along Greenland's southern coast. The scenery is awesome. And it's just got easier to see. Greenland's airport is now big enough to land passenger jets, and Kasper Frank Moller is hoping to capitalise on that. He founded a holiday company just 9 months ago.
We are, like, square meter wise, 1/3 of the United States. So we have so much space, which basically means that we are one of the last untouched ecosystems on Earth. And I think that's the interesting part for people to come and visit. I think Greenland has the opportunity for you to do a kind of an escape, to explore, to kind of be this explorer, be an adventurer. Yeah, currently we're in the early spring. As you can see, there's lots of snow, and it's been like a bit of a minus degrees, plus degrees here and there. But again, it's a brilliant time for going snowmobiling, for skiing, for going for hikes, going for hunting.
Greenland may well have already had its most significant visitors this year. America's Vice President and his wife came to an American military base in the far north, a Cold War outpost built to provide early warning of Soviet missile attack.
How we doing? It's cold as here.
Mr. Vance was here to rally the troops, but he also came with a clear message for Greenlanders and the old colonial power which is still responsible for defending the territory, Denmark.
You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people. And if the people of Greenland were willing to partner with the United States, and I think that they ultimately will partner with the United States, we could make them much more secure, we could do a lot more protection, and I think they'd fare a lot better economically as well. This has to happen.
Greenland used to form part of an impassable, frozen border at the top of the North American continent. But climate change is melting the ice. Shipping lanes are opening up, shortening the routes between east and west. Volumes of traffic across the Arctic Circle hit record highs last year. Natural resources which have been buried under miles of ice are becoming more accessible. The Arctic is home to hundreds of billions of barrels of untapped oil, around 1/3 of the world's natural gas, and what are thought to be vast deposits of rare earth minerals. China has been open about its ambitions to become a polar power, while Russia has reopened dozens of old Soviet military bases across the Arctic. In Washington, Mr. Vance's boss is clear that he regards Greenland as America's base camp in a new contest for the North.
We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't. If you look at Greenland right now, if you look at the waterways, you have Chinese and Russian ships all over the place. And we're not going to be able to do that. We're not relying on Denmark or anybody else to take care of that situation. And we're not talking about peace for the United States. We're talking about world peace. We're talking about international security.
The Vance's visit was supposed to involve so much more than just a military base. Mrs. Vance was due to go and mingle among the crowds at a husky-drawn sled racing festival. Part of the vice-presidential motorcade had landed in Greenland's capital, Nuuk, where she was going to learn something of its history and culture. The US consulate had made inquiries. Would it be okay for Mrs. Vance to visit some local businesses, like this tourist agency, perhaps?
We decided to politely tell them that we were not interested in her visit. We can't accept what they are, especially what Trump is saying now and his goal to take over Greenland. We're going to do everything we can to oppose that.
Mr. Trump's tough talk about annexation has caused popular outrage and protest here, so the parts of Mrs. Vance's visit which might have involved her meeting actual Greenlanders were called off at the last minute. This place has been colonised once already. Regular grants from the Danish government still pay for schools in Greenland and healthcare. When you hear President Trump talking about how he wants to annex Greenland, what do you think?
It's not very nice. We are our own people and we belong to Denmark, so he cannot come and get us.
When he first started talking about this, it felt a bit laughable, or it's funny in a way. But now that he keeps on saying it and that he's gonna get it no matter what, that feels really threatening.
I don't trust the man. I think they want to protect themselves and just take everything they can take. It's money. I don't trust the white man like Trump.
The Trump administration is hoping to tap into Greenlandic aspirations to break free from their old colonial masters. One of the Danish Navy's patrol boats sits motionless in the harbour. Locals joke about how its guns don't work.
Greenland has been neglected for quite a long time. The Prime Minister of Denmark actually promised the United States to up the ante in regards to investments and in defense and security and surveillance of Greenland, which they haven't done. And we can't wait for that, of course. The Americans can't wait for that.
Greenland is the size of a continent, but it's barely inhabited. Its entire population wouldn't fill Wembley Stadium. So as several of them have pointed out to me, there's plenty of room for the Americans to build the military infrastructure they think they need. But when it comes to sovereignty, that's a different matter.
On our boat tour, Casper, the holiday entrepreneur, had his own theory as to what is fueling Mr. Trump's interest in his land.
He's a businessman. Like, the United States are interested in capital expansion, and I think what Greenland has right now is an unimaginable amount of rare earth minerals. And I think, of course, that's personally what he's interested in.
The money, the mining.
Yes, exactly.
On the same day as Mr. Vance's speech at the American base, Greenland's national anthem was sung as a new coalition government took shape 900 miles to the south in Nuuk. The party's agreement based on shared opposition to Mr. Trump's intentions.
We are open for business, but we are not for sale.
If America wants to annex Greenland, what can your new government do about that?
He will never annex our country. The country belongs to the Greenlandic people and will always belong our people here.
Greenlanders have been living here in many thousand years, and we have our own identity, our own history, our own culture. And for us, by saying that the Greenlandic people is those who's going to decide our future, is not saying that we don't want to cooperate with other countries. And it's the same with United States.
A few days after the Vance's visit, the new government's first invited guest was the Prime Minister of Denmark.
I have to say very clearly, national borders, sovereignty of states, and our integrity, these are all principles rooted in international law. These are fundamental principles formed after the Second World War so that small countries don't have to fear big ones. And so this is not only about Greenland or Denmark. This is about the world order that we have built together across the Atlantic over generations. You cannot annex another country, not even with an argument about international security.
Greenlanders have long thought of America as an ally. They are people used to challenging conditions, but they live on the edge of a world which is changing, where friends say things which sound very much like threats.